the need for this is, I think it's misunderstood. It's a lot of liability for carriers to have that broad reach and people on roofs and all the insurance that comes along with it. And there's kind of a big relief. And I use this analogy. We use highly skilled people, subcontracted crews. Many shingle installers do. They use subcontracted crews where the only thing they do is shingle installation. And I
Right.
kind of view this the same way, right? Like you
Right.
have a very focused thing you do, that's the thing you do that you specialize in. And sometimes contractors get so frustrated with a bad experience that they let that bad experience be the entire perception and experience of every individual technician they meet. And we're
Right.
all guilty of this throughout different things. Like we may have a bad taste for insurance company because we had a bad experience with one carrier. Well, that's not the case. Like we definitely know that can fluctuate, and carriers may view contractors negatively because there's some that are throwing spaghetti against the wall rather than legitimate stuff. And right, it gives the picture of contractors. So everybody in this process is a little guilty of that. But let's
Right.
alleviate some of those things. Tell me a little bit about I almost want to cover the elephant in the room, right? Because there's some things that I think happen. Let's cover those first, and then I'll get into process. How
Okay.
much do you love or hate when your technician shows up and a contractor goes, "Are you an adjuster?"
So it's a shot, right? It's a shot, kind of. Some people don't have an issue with it, but I do want to say this. All right, so a lot of people talk in the industry. I'm a licensed adjuster, so I am a licensed adjuster. But when I'm out on site, if I'm not acting in that capacity, if I'm not assigned that file as the acting adjuster, I can't act in any way, shape, or form in that capacity. I can't say, hey, yeah, I am a licensed. I mean, I could say it, but I don't want things to be misconstrued. Like, oh, yeah, you sent out a licensed adjuster and he was the one making the determinations, the decisions. If I'm not acting in that capacity, if I haven't signed and I'm receiving claims as an acting adjuster, I don't talk about my license. And there's actual things within the Department of Insurance with our responsibilities and duties where we can't talk about that. But I do want to say this. If you're a licensed adjuster, I have tons of buddies. I have tons of people that are contractors that are just getting into the industry. They go after that license first. I went after it first. I didn't do any of my HAG. I didn't do all of my inspections. Well, I did some inspections as a contractor, but I didn't. I got the license, but it didn't mean that I was ready to launch as a full adjuster. That I knew policy interpretation, that I understood materials, that I understood damages, that I understood components. So there's this misconception that somebody has to have a license to know what they're doing, and that's just not the case. And once again, I'm either acting in the capacity as a technician or I'm acting in the capacity as the adjuster. If I'm the adjuster, you won't have to pretty much ask if I'm a licensed adjuster because I'll say that before we get started.